and the vision that he had given us for 3 years, because we're at the exact halfway mark of that 3-year program plan, for want of a better word. And so we evaluated as leadership how we are doing. Are we doing the things God has told us to do? Have we been obedient to it? And are we setting ourselves up for what's coming over the next couple of months, the next 18 months or so? And part of what we did on that weekend was we restructured a couple of our ministries to make sure that we could best service everything that was taking place in the church. If any of you have been in church for any length of time, you know very often it's easy for 20% of the church to do 80% of the work. And that's not the New Testament model. The New Testament model is everyone should have an avenue to serve. Everyone should be putting their gifts to use. And so it shouldn't just fall on a few people's shoulders. So we just restructured our ministries a little bit so that we could make sure that we're best set up to serve. And normally what we do is we ask people that are serving in any sort of capacity, helping with Extend and things like that, we ask people to help for a year. We ask you to sign up for a year, commit for a year, then at the end of the year, evaluate whether you want to be involved in that ministry or change to something else. And so we normally commission everything at the beginning of the year, normally the end of January, beginning of February. But this year we wanted to do something a little bit different because of two reasons. The first one is in February, you will remember Hein came and did the fivefold ministry weekend. We spent a whole weekend and he explained the fivefold ministry that Jesus gave to the church and said, this is how you must run church. Now, part of that fivefold ministry was setting aside elders and deacons to perform specific roles within the church. Now, the one's not more important than the other. They've got slightly different focuses. So the elders' responsibility includes spiritual oversight of the church and to make sure that everything the church is doing is in line with the vision that God has given the church. Okay? So they're not the bosses of the church. They are responsible to God for saying, this is where God says, I want you to go this way. I want you to do these things. It's the elders' responsibility to make sure everything moves in that direction. Now, the people that make it move in that direction, that head up the ministries, are deacons. They're the people who serve. Now, the difference between elders and deacons, if you can remember, back to February, is quite simple. An elder position is called. God calls elders, but deacons are appointed by the eldership of the church to run and look after ministries. So the one's an appointed position. Now, we've got a couple of people that have been operating in deacon positions for the last long period of time, but we've never actually formally anointed, inducted, and commissioned the deacons to serve, to run the ministries of the church. And instead of waiting for January, we decided this Sunday would be a good Sunday for us to actually call them up, to share with you who they are. You should know who they are. If you do not know who they are, then we need to have a chat after church. But we want to commission them, appoint them officially into the positions, tell you what their ministries are, what they're looking after, and pray for God's blessing on them. Now, if you want to read the finite details of what a qualification is for a deacon, 1 Timothy and Titus are the two books that you can go read. They're not very long. You can read them all. You can see the qualifications. The people that we are appointing as formally as deacons this morning meet all of those qualifications, hands down, no problem. The other important part about a deacon is you don't appoint deacons on the basis of potential. You appoint deacons on the basis of where they are already serving. So as we asked Charmaine, Renee, and Bev to come stand up here with Andre and I, you will see that they just happen to be ladies. By the way, deacons can be male and female. We just happen to have ladies at the moment. They are already serving in the various positions. And you would have noticed, if you've been around Origins any length of time, you will notice these ladies are always working and always doing things. So I quickly want to just run through the portfolios. Help me out if I miss something. So Charmaine is looking after outreach. Okay, anything that falls under outreach. So we have that coffee thing that we did on the driveway out to the community a little while ago. We've got another one of those planned in September, by the way, coming up, even more exciting. This time it's going to be coffee and pancakes. Outreach, also soup kitchen and the feeding scheme all falls under outreach. And then the other thing that falls under Charmaine now is our children's ministry. So that'll be youth on a Friday night, extend on a Sunday, and creche for when some of the young adults start repopulating the earth. Then we're stepping out in faith. We've put 8 chairs out there. Please notice I said young adults, not the older people. All right, you've had your chance. Now we're going to pass that on to the next generation. So those are the ministries that fall under Shemaine. Got that right? Yes. So Renee looks after worship. So worship is anything to do with the service on a Sunday, the music, the songs we're singing, the equipment and all of that stuff that falls under training you worship leaders, helping the musicians coming through. Obviously, she has a support team as well, but ultimately this is the ministry that falls under Renee. And then she also looks after inreach. So the difference between inreach and outreach is the focus outside the church. Inreach is the focus inside the church. So things like the care pantry. You guys will notice you get a WhatsApp or an SMS if you miss a church service. If you miss 2, it comes in all caps. If you miss 3, you start getting telephone calls and emails. Okay, that's Renee. All right, so part of inreach is how things are going inside, who needs help, what's going where. So by the way, thank you very much for your donations into the care pantry. I think the box is outside if you want to dip your hand in, take a piece of paper out. It's important to do what's on the paper because Renee knows what's in the pantry, what we need and what we don't need. Also, she's the one who coordinates when there are families in need. She knows what they need, and that's why pieces of paper have in there what it is that we need. So thank you, Renee, for that. And then Bev, anything and everything else that happens in the church. That's about the simplest way of putting it. Okay, so if there's anything doesn't fall under those, it's Bev. I'm joking. So Bev looks after all of the administrative functions of the church. And anyone who's ever been involved in running any organization whatsoever understands that admin, first of all, is a dirty word. Okay? Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to do it. But things don't operate efficiently if you don't have somebody doing admin. Now, Bev has the gift of organization. And if you've ever had to work with her, you know she has the gift of organization. It's a spiritual gift. Okay, and she also has the ability to do admin in a way that really works and helps out. So admin includes things like the church finances. So every one of the departments that run in the church are helping put a budget together. Bev helps guide, lead how much they have, what they can do, how well it's spent, what it's been used. If you want to know anything about anything on any bank statement for the last 160 years, Bev knows. All right, she's got that stuff. So it's the finances of the church. It's the ministry capabilities, it's ordering the training material, each one of those church-wide campaigns we do, the banners that come up, the stuff that goes out onto social media. So we've got some people helping out on social media. I forget where they're sitting now, they're hiding. Yeah, there they are. Thank you, the social media guys. All the photographs and things that we put up, all the online forms and sign up, all the things like our member database, all of those kind of things. Bev looks after them, make sure everything happens in the background. Ordering of all the materials, printing of those books, making sure that the rosters go out. So we've got rosters for everything. Yeah, who's on the worship team, who's on lockup, who's on anchor, who's on this, all of those. Bev makes sure that they happen. Every event that we have in the church, all the events fall under Bev as well. So anytime we get together, whether it's a connect, social, poikie competition, whatever it might be, Bev makes sure that all of that stuff happens and that everyone knows what they need to do and stuff gets together. There was something else. Oh, yes, maintenance. We actually sit in a church with chairs, with functioning screens and sound equipment and everything. All of that falls under Bev as well. The minute something goes wrong, it's on to Bev, and she's got Chris helping out now. Thank you, Chris, taking a massive load off of Bev, because I've seen Bev with a hammer. So that's it's really great to have Chris help out there as well. But anything to do with the property as well, which includes things like security, the fencing, the lights, the gardens, all of that kind of stuff. Somebody has to make sure that all of that stuff is happening. So Bev coordinates all of that. So those are the ministries. These are our ladies that are busy serving as deacons. And so we have some oil there. We're going to ask Andre to formally anoint them, pray for them, and set them apart for this ministry. If you guys agree with us, and if you support, you don't have to if you don't know them, obviously, and you don't want to. But if you do, as we anoint them and as we pray for them, I'm going to ask you to raise your hands, to extend your hands over them as we ask God to anoint them and to continue using them in His kingdom. It's not about us. It's not about them. It's not even about ministry. It's about the kingdom of God and being faithful to what He has entrusted us to do.